Okay, so you see one difference there. That's one difference. Now, the shape. The shape is different. Okay, the shape equals a double helix. You all ever heard of that? A double helix? You heard of the double helix before? Yeah? Good. It's like the big spiral, right? And some teachers will call it a twisted ladder. Okay, some teachers will call it the twisted ladder. Okay? So the shape is what? What's the shape of DNA? Double helix. What's the shape of DNA? Double helix. Okay? That one has been on a couple of tests too, and all it says is what's the shape of DNA. So can you get that? What's the shape of DNA? Double helix. Okay? That's an easy question to get. What's the shape of DNA? Double helix. Awesome. Okay? Now, the shape of RNA is not a double helix. The shape of RNA is a single strand. Okay? And I'll show you pictures of these here in just a little bit. I'm going to draw them right there. Okay? So the shape of DNA is a double helix. RNA is a single strand. Okay, so it's half of what DNA is. Okay, so DNA, what shape's DNA?
Double helix.
Double helix. Now, the next thing you need to know about DNA, and I'm going to erase this just so I have more room to write, okay, is it has three parts. Three parts of DNA. And this kind of has a little rhyme to it. Okay? One is a sugar. Two is a phosphate. Three is a base. Okay? So the three parts are a sugar, a phosphate, and a base. Oh, come on. Okay? So what are the three parts of DNA?
Sugar, phosphate, and base.
What are they?
Sugar,
And the base. What are they?
sugar, phosphate.
What are they?
Sugar,
Phosphate and a base. Say it over and over again. Sugar, phosphate, and a base. Sugar, phosphate, and a base. What are they? Phosphate, and a base. Try saying this one. Phosphate. Put it together. Phosphate. So sugar,
sugar,
phosphate, and a base. What are they?
sugar, phosphate,
Okay, let's go back. If I say ribosome, you think?
protein.
If I say ribosome, you think? All right. Now, back to this. Sugars. Okay, underneath sugars, all sugars end in O-S-E. All sugars end in O-S-E. I'll give you a couple examples. Okay, what all sugars end in? So if you see a word and it ends in O-S-E, it must be a sugar, right? Okay? So let's take this. Where's the sugar in ribose nucleic acid? What's the sugar? Ribose, right? Because it ends in O-S-E. Okay? And then what did DNA stand for? The D stands for what? Look back at the D in DNA. I don't have it up here. Look back at the D in the DNA. Deoxyribose. Good. And what's the last three letters of deoxyribose? O-S-E. So that's the sugar, right? So all sugars end in O-S-E. Okay? Some other ones. Have you ever eaten fruit, right? There's sugar in fruit, right? And it's called fructose. Makes sense, right? Fructose. O-S-E. Another sugar you've heard of, sucrose, right?
Yeah.
You put it in your iced tea, right? When you get tea, you put sucrose in it. That's just sugar. Okay? And have you ever heard of anybody that y'all know anybody that's diabetic? And they say their blood glucose levels are low, right? Y'all heard glucose? Okay? Their sugars are level, right? Glucose. O-S-E. Okay? So all sugars end in. Good. What all sugars end in? O-S-E. Okay? That's easy to memorize, right? So if you see a word and it ends in O-S-E, it's got to be a
Sugar.
sugar. Awesome. Good. Now, okay, I'm going to erase this again just so I have some room. Now, the phosphate. What's the three parts of DNA? Sugar, phosphate, and a base. What's the three parts of DNA?
Sugar.
Phosphate, and a base. Awesome. Okay? Now, there's nothing we really need to know too much about phosphate. Okay? Other than it's part of DNA. Okay? The next thing is the bases. The bases, and sometimes you'll see them called a nitrogenous base. Okay? But it's still just a base. Okay? So if you just memorize base, you'll be okay. Okay, so don't worry too much about this. I just want you guys to know that if you see it on the test as nitrogenous base, it's just a base. Okay? Does that make sense? Y'all following me? Everybody got me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, if you don't follow me at some point, tell me so I can come back to it. Okay? So, what we've got now, there's 4 bases. Okay? 4 bases. This is those letters. We've heard of these letters. A always pairs with T. Okay? A always pairs with what?
T.
T. G always pairs with C. Okay? You've got to get that memorized because that will be on the test. A pairs with T. G pairs with A pairs with G pairs with C. What does A pair with?
A to T.
A to T.
E to C.
G to C. What does G pair with? C. Okay, good. Alright? Now, what are the 3 parts of DNA?
Sugar, phosphate,
And the
and
base. And it could be nitrogenous base, right? And we just kind of know that in the back of our mind, right? Okay, and how do the bases pair?
G. G. C.
G to C. Awesome.
We're we
Switching?
need to switch now.
Okay,
These are-
one more quick thing on your notes before we switch. Okay, now, on the RNA, the bases, are A to U, G to C. So is it A to T?
No, it's
No, it's
A to U.
A to U. So if it's RNA, it's gonna have, is it going to have T's if it's RNA? Will it have T's if it's RNA?
Maybe.
Never. If it has T's, it's got to be
Oh, DNA.
DNA. If it has U's, it's RNA. So this is the big difference right there in RNA and DNA. So if it has T's, it's DNA. If it has U's, it's RNA. Everybody following me?
Yes.
Okay? So if they write out something on the test like this, they write this. GCTACCG. Is that RNA or DNA?
That's RNA.
What is it? What does it have? Has a T, so it's got to be DNA. If they do this, GCUUAGC, that is RNA because it has U's. Okay? And then what if they told you to write the complementary strand of the DNA? G pairs with C, C pairs with G, T pairs with A, T, C, right? And that's how it pairs, right? So if it has T's, it's DNA. If it has U's, it's RNA. Okay? Alright, good job, guys. Alright. So what do y'all think about learning like that?